Hi, I'm Jaime Nolasco, and I'm doing a presentation for my YJT1 Elements of Effective Communication course for WGU. The topic of this presentation is medical marijuana. According to Mitchell Earlywine, author of Understanding Marijuana, cannabis sativa, also known as marijuana, hasn't always been an illicit substance in America. Historical references to cannabis all indicate that it originated in Asia and appeared in pharmacopoeias as a remedy for a variety of ailments. Ailments such as pain, seizures, muscle spasms, and even nausea. Research suggests that medical marijuana should be legalized because it would provide people that are sick and suffering much needed pain relief without the fear of incarceration or prosecution. It would also contribute much needed funds which would stimulate the economy, ease financial burden that cases incur on the justice system. Let's start off with the main points. Point one being that marijuana is a versatile plant and it has many medicinal uses. The most common of which is to alleviate pain from chronic ailments. The second point being that the criminalization of marijuana has cost everyone involved, from those that use to those that are tasked with enforcing that law. So let's begin with main point one, and that is pain relief. Authors Mack and Joy state that there are two types of pains, acute and chronic. Acute pain refers to pain that doesn't last long but is severe. Chronic pain refers to pain that persists. Medications exist for acute pain, but it's known that it doesn't really function for long on people who experience chronic pain. According to Geiringer, one of the oldest and most prevalent use for marijuana has it as an anti-nausea treatment, and as well as an appetite loss suppressant. Now, this has helped people who are undergoing chemotherapy, for example, as well as people who have HIV or AIDS. Now, Mack and Joy, the authors Mack and Joy, state that marijuana works for people who are afflicted by things such as glaucoma, spasticity, AIDS, and even cancer. The only issue is making sure or ensuring that marijuana becomes available to the general public. Availability of marijuana should occur in a way that would, benefit both people, those that need it, and government. So, in other words, the legalization of marijuana. Let's move on to the next point, which is the criminalization of marijuana. Right here in this graph, you can see that it has steadily risen since 1995. This graph shows from a point between 1995 and 2010. As you can see, it has steadily risen over time. Now, this is the overall number of drug arrests in America from 1995 to 2010. So, as you can see, it's risen steadily and steadily. Now, here, the second graph, you can see that the number of arrests, and this one is the number of arrests for marijuana possession in the U.S. from 1995 to 2010, you can see that it has steadily risen. Now, here are some numbers that you might want to take a look at, just sort of as to illustrate as to how pervasive this issue is. The number of arrests in, I believe, 2007, overall drug arrests was 1,900,000, out of which 800,000 were marijuana arrests. Now, this is important because according to Barton, who wrote Illegal Drugs and Governmental Policies, federal statute states that possession of marijuana for personal use could mean up to 1 year in federal prison and up to $100,000 in fines. And that's just for first-time offenders, regardless of, whether the state says, yes, medical marijuana is legal to use here. Since the Substances Act takes precedence, this means that it doesn't distinguish between medical or personal use, of marijuana. So regardless of the circumstances, you will still receive, up to a year in prison or a $100,000 fine. Gerber says that there are approximately 15,000 federal inmates who are incarcerated because of marijuana-related offenses. And, in the state penal facilities, there are many prisoners that are doing life sentences, all because they were growing, selling, or had possession of marijuana. Authors Myron and Waldar, they state that the United States as a whole has spent around $5.4 million in 2008. And all of that is as a result of the marijuana prohibition. And the federal government, they spent even more money, $3.4 billion to be exact, just trying to prohibit marijuana. In conclusion, the research suggests medical marijuana should be legalized because it would provide people that are sick and suffering much needed pain relief without fear of incarceration or prosecution, contribute much needed funds which would stimulate the economy, and ease the financial burden of these cases on the justice system. Let's just restate our main points here. Marijuana is a versatile plant and it has many medicinal uses, the most common of which is to alleviate the pain from chronic ailments. Our second point was that criminalization of marijuana has cost everyone involved, from those that use to the government that's, basically tasked to enforce these laws. In closing, the author Marshall states that by lifting the ban on marijuana use and treating it like other drugs such as tobacco and alcohol, the nation would gain immediate and long-term benefits. The change in the law would greatly improve the quality of life for many people. And according to Geiringer, he agrees. He states that the total retail sales of marijuana could be on the order of $3 to $5 billion, with total economic impact of 12 to 18 billion, including spin-off industries, such as tourism, industrial hemp, perhaps even coffee houses. This is the conclusion of my presentation. I thank you for taking your time to listen and watch this, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.